Businesses have continued to count their losses from the aftermath of the NSAS protest. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association has put an estimated value to the losses suffered by businesses nationwide at over 5 trillion naira following the destruction and vandalization of critical investment and assets by hoodlums who hijacked the peaceful NSAS protest last month. According to the association, organized businesses became one of the victims of the attacks, which has compromised their abilities to meet obligations to their creditors, vendors, employees, and regulators, amongst many others. The president of NECA, Adini, is here with me to throw more light on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Mr. Adini, for joining us on the program. Now, 5 trillion naira, that's your estimated losses by your members. How did you arrive at this estimate?
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for this opportunity, to be able to share, more insight into what we've come to realize that, yes, we might be talking about 1 week of protest, but to our members, we're still counting. As at the last count, we've come to about 5 trillion naira. Just yesterday, we were discussing with a business owner who lost a shop where, right on Ifako Road. And just that one business is estimated to have lost about 100 million naira. Now, we have quite a number of that across the nation. Now, what you begin to, what has been done is that people have tried to put figure to what they've come to as immediate losses. But when you begin to look at other factors in terms of employment loss, in terms of infrastructural loss, in terms of replacement costs, you can't look at the cost of putting that investment together alone. You also have to look at the cost of replacement. The investment that you put together, say in 2016, is much more in terms of value. To put that investment together now, you are talking of, if not triple or quadruple of the cost that you have used. So with that, it's easy to come to terms with the fact that we are looking at 5 trillion naira as of today.
Now, how are these businesses, you said you had an engagement with some of them. It has happened, but how are these businesses trying to, recover from the losses and begin to rebuild?
To be honest with you, it's a major one. Psychologically, they've been devastated. And so the first way is to bring them together, like we had recently, to sympathize with them and to also begin to give them a voice of the fact that, yes, as an association, we'll be willing to talk to government on their behalf. Because what we find is that when individuals try to talk with government, government tends to turn their ears away. But when associations come together to take on the matters of their members, then government listens. So what we've done is to say, look, for our members, we're willing to be the voice, which we have always been, between them and government, so as to get the government to listen to them. So basically what we've done is to bring them together, get their feelings about some of the issues, lay on to their facts, and then project the facts before government. So that's what we're currently doing.
So what, in your opinion, should the government, both the state and the federal, be doing right now? What do you expect the government to do now to support these businesses in their rebuilding process?
Unfortunately, we are in an era where even the government too needs funds.
Absolutely.
And so you then ask yourself, if the government you are supposed to be running to needs funds, where is the fund going to come from? But again, you find that these are reasons why the likes of the sovereign fund have been set up. All we're asking the state and the federal government to do is to give approval for these businesses to access such funds so that they can quickly get back to business. Because the longer it takes, the will goes away. a man who is already devastated can possibly just sit around it and mourn over what has happened. But if you quickly come around him, there's every possibility that you might bring him up again and get him, because it's from the position of enlightened self-interest for government to do that. We all gain from it. And so we're calling on the state, we're calling on the federal. Yes, a lot has been said. At the wake of the events, the state government spoke, the federal government spoke, but we're saying beyond speaking, it is time to get down to work and save these businesses and let them come back to operation.
So what role can the corporate Nigeria play in this?
There is no way the government will be able to do it without the corporate Nigeria. Now, my advice would be to say, look, we have established organizations, we have established associations where these businesses belong. Because one of the problems we have also is the fact that government needed to confirm that truly the events that we see, social media you have all kinds of photoshops taking place. So the government will need to verify claims. And this can be done through these various corporate bodies, corporate associations that will then be the voice to government to be able to verify what it is that we're claiming or the businesses are claiming. So it is for government to come down to the level of organizations, set up committees quickly, not too big committees, not too large committees, to be able to quickly address these facts, because it is not about whether the government can do it. It is about whether the will to do it is there. Government has all that it takes to do it, but is the will there?
So what then can the banks and the insurance companies do to also support in this regard?
Well, let me openly appreciate the bank that have come forward to say, okay, we are willing to give interest-free loan to these businesses. But again, Nigeria as of today, that was a pronouncement made just at the wake of the protest. But today, what we have found out is that the requirement to access such loan has also become another problem. You are asking for police reports to be able to access such loan. Which police will be willing to give a report at this moment? So, again, there are several other ways to do or get documentation done. So what we're saying to the commercial banks that have come up to say we can help, is say, look, go beyond what you have as processes. Treat these cases as special cases. Come up with policies that will support this very event that has happened, without necessarily compromising on whatever standard or policies that you have. But come up with, innovate to be able to address the problem that we have at hand.
Now, what about the insurance companies? Don't forget, the insurance companies themselves are looking for money for recapitalization. So,
yeah, you took it out of me. We had an engagement with the insurance company, and one of them said, do you know what? Even us as insurers, we're looking for insurance. And so it's a big, big problem. Because what we have of this year is that we've had, quoting them now, we've had more claims than we've ever had. We're coming from a situation where it was the issue of pandemic, it was the issue of businesses not being able to continue their running of their business because high cost, without access to funds. And so the insurance is having to take up so much, and yet we have this now. So it's a big, big problem. And we don't have too many reinsurance companies in Nigeria.
So is there a way out? Are you getting any positive vibe from them that there could be a way out? They could offer some kind of palliative for these businesses?
Again, what we expect government to do now, because at the end of the day, if businesses need to get claims from insurance, and insurance is saying, sorry, we cannot pay, then who is to adjudicate? It's the government. government needs to come up with bailout funds, even for insurance. Because if you are asking businesses, of course, naturally, by law, they have insured the business, so they expect that the insurance company should come to their aid. Now, if the insurance company is now saying, sorry, we cannot come to your aid because of the situation we've all found ourselves, then there must be some palliative, some bailout for the insurance company to be able to do that.
Now, we've seen agencies like the FIRS granting further tax palliative to, these businesses that are affected. What's your take on that?
Yes, but I'll say to you, that is below expectation.
Why?
What they've come up to say is that the tax you are supposed to pay now, spread it over time. The tax you are supposed to pay now will give you some time to... No.
What do you expect them to say?
We expect that there will be some tax holidays. To say that, look, we can't run this business now, so we are not able to do what you expect of us at this time.
Okay, well, talking about spreading the tax, and you're talking about tax holiday. When you say tax holiday, when they give you a holiday, when you come back, I guess you're going to pay those taxes.
Yes. But the difference is that government recognizes that within the period of your not operating your business, you have this holiday of a sort. You are not paying at that time. It is not to suspend the tax. So what you find happening is that tax is being suspended. Now, if you start a business, you are not expected to start paying tax immediately. You have some tax holiday. You have some moratorium period to say, okay, until you get to this point where you are able to say, okay, this is the income you are generating vis-a-vis what your expenses are. Then you start paying your tax. So that's the kind of thing we're asking. Treat these businesses as if they are starting all over again.
But incidentally, the government is looking for money. And what way to get those money is via tax.
Yes. Again, we've also said, can you look at it now and say, okay, for such businesses, rather than pay 7.5, rather than pay the increases you have brought, can you give them some break? We're not saying zero, at all costs. But we're saying, can you look at it dispassionately and say, okay, we have increased VAT to 7.5, but for the purpose of those who have experienced this, okay, we don't want to record in our book 0. Can you say pay 5 for this period? After all, tax holidays are granted to people, those who bring investment around and say, okay, can you look at them in such way?
Now, have you started engaging the government on this?
Yes, of course. We've put forward our papers. We're expecting that government will call us for discussions or meetings, and then we can...
And they haven't done that?
That has not happened.
Now, when all of these things happened, one major talking point that came out was the issue of job losses. And we're talking about high unemployment rate. You represent the employers, all right? So what's the situation? So we're going to have more people losing their jobs. Is that what you're telling us?
Well, this is one area, as employer of labor, we try not to talk about. But the reality as of today is that we're going to have job losses, unfortunately. And I'll tell you why. For instance, I told you we had a meeting where we're looking at and assessing the impact of the protest on businesses of our members. And the kind of destruction that we have on businesses. A man said his shop was looted, asset worth millions of naira have been destroyed, meaning every member of staff at that time out of job. It could be for as short as 6 months, it could be as short as 1 year, it could be forever. And so there's no running away from the fact that there's going to be increase in unemployment and out of job numbers that we currently have. Massive. And I dare say the reason why we're calling on government to immediately do something is so that we do not have a repeat. Because what has led to this is the fact that
but
we
then,
have...
do you think this could have been avoided, really?
In some way, if they cry to government about the fact that the rate at which unemployment is on the increase in the country.
Because this has to do with the youths.
Yes. They're out of job, they're out of school, and nobody is paying any form of attention to them. Parents leave home in the morning and leave them. Sometimes they are sleeping. All they need to do is a call from a friend to say, look,
and they are not in school.
They are not in school, unfortunately.
And nothing is happening.
Nothing.
It seems everything is just static.
That's it.
In terms of education.
Unfortunately.
Is that a problem to you?
It is.
As an employer?
It is. Because what we're currently having is deficit in terms of skilled manpower. It's a major issue for the tomorrow of this nation.
So for you employers, I guess you also have to lend your voices to this issue of ASU and the government. I want to believe as an organized private sector, you'll also have to do something in that regard. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeniyi, for sharing your thoughts here on the program.
Thank you very much.